Well, good morning. Welcome to Space Oddities. Thank you for joining us on this, where are we now? Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us for the second attempted launch of Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket. We are in a situation at the moment where the countdown, as of about 2 or 3 minutes ago, has been put on hold. No idea why that is, but we do know that the weather situation is not good, not particularly for the landings, for the launch site, but apparently out at sea the weather is rough where Blue Origin want to attempt to land the first stage of the rocket on the drone ship Jacqueline, which is named after Jeff Bezos' mother. So we are in a hold at the moment. Let's just have a look and see what's happening over there at the Cape. And absolutely nothing. The countdown is still on hold. If we get any news of that, we will obviously let you know. But for the meantime, if this is your first time watching Space Oddities, thank you for joining us. Very kind of you to spend your time with us this morning. And Daz, any thoughts about this?
Well, I've been watching this for about the last three hours. Please excuse me. And they started fueling about 3 o'clock this morning. Fueling was completed just over an hour ago, and they were saying that Blue Origin were looking at launching at the opening of the window, which would have been 6 o'clock. But as you know, just literally about 5 or 10 minutes ago, a hold arrived, and they're holding it minus 20 minutes, 50 seconds. So we're just going to have to wait and see if this goes. It'll be very unfortunate. I mean, they have been hedging their bets because they knew the weather was going to be rough. They've sort of like thought, well, we'll give it a go anyway. But it looks like it's the weather may be winning. But we've got 3 hours from 6 o'clock when the window fully opens.
Yes,
Because of course this is their first confirmation certification flight. They need to get this right now. Their main aim is to get this into orbit and also to get the second stage to operate correctly, and also they've got a test cargo on there, which is called Blue Ring, which is basically it's the communications and directional gubbins that goes into a satellite. It's what they call the bus. And what you do is you then strap all your instruments to this bus, and that forms the actual satellite. So this is a new system. They're going to try it. This is what they want to get right. They want to get into orbit. They want to get the second stage working, because I think it will involve relighting the second stage as well, again, which is something else that's never happened.
Yeah.
And then we do know they also want to recover the thruster section, the first stage, and again they will be landing that out on a barge out in the Atlantic, but that is a second. They've never attempted anything like this. It's all been simulations. Themselves they've admitted that they don't really expect everything to go right the first time, but they need this as it's part of the first certification, so that they'll be able to carry military payloads, and this is what they're aiming for. So
indeed. So also say good morning to Ian this morning. Ian, I hope you haven't got out of bed early unnecessarily, but we will see.
No, well, quite. It's just annoying. What's annoying is they don't tell us anything. It just goes on hold, and that's
right.
Absolutely no information whatsoever.
Right. And we should point out this is not a program hold, because sometimes with space missions they have a programmed hold where they know they're going to pause the countdown for a while.
Right.
But this is not a programmed hold. This is a spontaneous hold, if you like. It is annoying.
on
You're quite
schedule.
right. But space is hard, as we always say.
Mm.
And
Yeah, we've
trying to
got a
launch a new
3-hour
rocket.
window.
Yeah, you can't deny
Let's just
that.
hope they give us some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we said on Monday, in the history of spaceflight, no rocket has ever launched first time on its maiden flight. No rocket has ever managed to launch on its first
Right.
attempt.
Well, perfectly. Yeah, have a
So
perfect function. Yeah.
yeah, so we were expecting issues because it is a brand new rocket. And I just want to talk a little about where New Glenn is in relation to the market. Now, if you look at SpaceX's Starship, Elon Musk has said that the primary purpose of Starship for at least a year after it finally goes into service will be to launch Starlink satellites. That will be its main job. After that, then it will be open to commercial clients. Now, it's going to be there for at least another year, I would think, that before Starship is taking customers, if you like. In that time, Blue Origin have got a chance to prove New Glenn and to try and wrest some of that market away from SpaceX. Now, if you look at payload capacity, it's about the same as, say, Falcon Heavy, but there is a big difference in the two, because don't forget that New Glenn is a bigger rocket in terms of its diameter. It has a 7-meter fairing as against the 5-meter fairing for the Falcon series. So any customer wanting to launch something really big might go to Blue Origin and then New Glenn, excuse me, for that, because Starship, but once Starship gets into service, all bets are off, because that thing is so massive it can handle anything, because it has a potentially 100-ton payload capacity and an enormous amount of space inside the rocket for huge payloads. So I reckon Blue Origin maybe have a year, perhaps have a year to prove New Glenn, to get it working, to try and attract the attention of customers before Starship completely dominates the launch market, which it undoubtedly will. If Starship works, then it's going to completely trample other launch providers into the ground. And talking of the Starship launch, tonight, viewers, is the 7th flight test of Starship, the new Starship, the Block 2 Starship. We'll be covering that live here on Space Oddities. And the launch is scheduled for 2200 UK time. We'll be going live at 21:45 UK time if you would like to join us. So I think in terms of the market, Blue Origin are obviously desperate to get military contracts, and they will be looking to take some of that market off SpaceX. Of course, SpaceX are unable to launch those really huge payloads for the military. And apart from Blue Origin and SpaceX in the heavy lift market, there's really nobody else at the moment until the Neutron rocket by Rocket Labs comes into service probably sometime next year. So we've got this year, 2025, when I think the launch market may well change, with Blue Origin stepping up for those big payloads. Any thoughts on that, Daz? Or Ian?
Yeah, I mean, it's as we said, this is a as we said, it's a complete new rocket. It has to prove itself. Now, the reason we were talking before in the last attempt, that how far overdue this launch is.
Yes.
It's about 4 or 5 years overdue. But the thing is that SpaceX was just starting to get some cadence with the Falcon 9 and the Falcon Heavy in launches. And of course, because everything, the booster on the Falcon is reusable, the cost of the actual flights came down hugely.
Hmm.
So all of a sudden, everybody was looking at SpaceX to launch their satellites, and even the military have had to move some of their satellites because both ULA and Blue Origins have had multiple delays on their new rockets.
Yeah.
So if they can get this to work very, very quickly, they've then got to be able to prove their cadence. Now, I said yesterday, or the other day, whenever it was, at the moment, Blue Origin have 7 upper stages in production and 5, including this stage, first thruster stage, this
Yeah.
first booster stage. So they got 5 booster stages that they can play with if they don't lose this one, and 7 upper stages. Well, I did notice, and I'm trying to look for it now, I seem to have lost it, that I did have their schedule for the rest of this year, and they're expecting to launch another 6 times with satellites and probes on board.
There you are.
The first one being Escapade, which should have been on this flight, but
Yes.
they changed their minds because of the delays.
Yeah.
So, but they're expecting at least, I think, another 6 flights this year. So they've got to get the cadence going very, very quickly.
They have.
So they've got to get themselves moving. So
Yeah. Let's just have a quick look at what's going on. Countdown is still on hold, viewers, as we can see, and nothing's happening at the Cape. So we'll just keep an eye on this and see whether the countdown advances. Yes, I think, as I said, I think there's this crucial period of maybe a year before Starship comes into service as a commercial launch provider. So if Blue Origin can do that, if they can get their launch cadence up and proving to people that, yes, we can do it, I think it will make a big difference. And we did go through this on Monday, viewers. So apologies if you joined us on Monday and today, but I think it's still worth saying that Blue Origin has been in existence for 2 years longer than SpaceX. Blue Origin was founded in the year 2000, SpaceX in 2002. So this is 25 years now that Blue Origin have been in existence. It's their 25th anniversary, and they have never put anything into orbit after 25 years, which was their express intent right from the start. So, they have been laughed at, and quite rightly so, because as we know, the only thing that Blue Origin have done in terms of space is the New Shepard rocket, taking rich people for a suborbital jaunt up to the edge of space and back again, which I'm sure is great for them. I'm sure, if I had the money, I'd do it myself. But it's not serious rocketry, really. It's technologically, the New Shepard is quite impressive. They've only had one mission where they've had big problems with it. So it's proven to be quite a reliable rocket, and I think it's now flown 27 times. However, this is not helping Blue Origin with their stated goals of being this major launch provider. Now, Jeff Bezos has a vision, and his vision is, well, both of them have a vision. Elon Musk's vision is to go to Mars and establish a human outpost on Mars. Forget the bit about a city of 1 million people, that's just nonsense, but certainly a human outpost on Mars. Jeff Bezos' stated intent is to move heavy industry off the Earth into Earth orbit. And yes, of course, it would be a much better planet if we could move all the heavy industry off the Earth into Earth orbit and start manufacturing in orbit, which has got lots of advantages. But this is a long-term thing. It's not going to happen immediately. In the long term, Blue Origin needs to generate revenue, which is what it's all about. And the only way they're going to generate the revenue is to demonstrate that they have a rocket that really works and can be launched with the necessary launch cadence for it to establish itself as a launch provider. So Ian seems to be having problems. So hopefully he can join us a bit later. sorry about that, Ian. So, as regards this whole business of competitors, really there are only 4 in the market at the moment. There are smaller launch providers or startups that are wanting to capture some of this market, but we are talking about obviously SpaceX, Blue Origin, ULA, the United Launch Alliance, with their brand new Falcon rocket, which has flown and proved itself at least once. And then you have Rocket Lab, who have come from being a really tiny New Zealand company up to potentially a major launch provider in very little time. And as I said, their new Neutron rocket, which is really technologically advanced, should be flying hopefully towards the end of this year, back end of this year, beginning of next year. So those are going to be the 4 major launch providers by the look of it. Competition is always a great thing, of course, when it comes to any industry. But SpaceX have cornered a huge section of the market. And now, don't forget that last year, 85% of all the tonnage lifted into orbit was lifted by SpaceX. And admittedly, the majority of those flights were Starlink satellites, but they have done so with an incredible reliability. The SpaceX Falcon 9 has a 99.7, I think, % success rate. And they have demonstrated that not only are they an extremely cheap launch provider because of the reusability of the Falcons, but also that they can do so incredibly reliably. And if you are a company wanting to put, or an agency wanting to put a satellite into orbit, you need reliability, which is, in my view, as important as the price. So this is what the launch market is going to look like. But at the end of the day, Blue Origin need to get this rocket up. And as Daz said, they need to get it up soon, because they are not going to be taken seriously if they continue delays and problems that has plagued the New Glenn project over the last 9 years since it was announced.
Yeah, because I found what I was looking for. They've actually got a New Glenn launch for June 2025.
Right.
That's Escapade. And then if I scroll down, they've basically just put all of the New Glens in a block right in December. But of course, that's not going to happen. They're going to have to be spread out. You've got Eutelsat, New Glenn, and these are all scheduled for December. Well, sometime in 2025, but they've just put them in a block for December. You got Eutelsat, you got MU Space One, OneWeb, and Sky Perfect JSat. So that's the customers that they hope to be launching for this year alone. So if they're going to have any chance to launch, so they're looking at launching 6 times. So I do believe. We'll just check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times this year. So they're going to have to start really soon. But I did hear that they are thinking about spring for their next flight anyway. So, but they're going to have to sort of like do 1 a month after that just to get these flights in. So the cadence is something else that they've got to be looking at. Because also we were talking about the actual booster. The first stage is using 7 BE4 engines, which are built by Blue Origin. Yes. And they've had a lot of trouble with these, but also their contractor to supply these BE4 engines to ULA, United Launch Alliance, for their Vulcan Centaur ship, which they're having troubles with. Sure. And they did have supply problems and mechanical problems and test problems. So they've got to be looking at lots of things they've got to start really building very, very fast and make sure they've got the engines and the I mean, to be honest, the engines, I mean, all they need to do is build 7 for each booster, because it's supposed to be reusable, so they won't have to build them again. And they're looking at using these at the moment 25 times. And of course, we know that can be done because
SpaceX have
just done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Well,
So, yes, I mean, as regards those engines, again, they're not proven.
No.
They've
No.
only flown once on the Vulcan.
Yeah, because the BE3 engines, which use hydrogen for their fuel, that's never been fired in space at all.
No.
And they're looking to fire it twice. The count has restarted, but it started at 30 minutes. So
Right.
we're at
minutes.
minus 29.32 at the moment.
That's just right. So we're now looking at 30 minutes, which makes it about 6:35 launch UK time, or 7:35 my time. So yes, I mean this is the thing that there was a long history of delays developing the BE4 engine, and they just couldn't seem to get it right. And of course, they were contracted to deliver the BE4 engines to ULA for their new Vulcan rocket, and that, as a result, was delayed. ULA were chomping at the bit because they had military contracts that they were obligated to fulfill. So it was all getting a bit tense. But finally, Blue Origin managed to deliver the BE4 engines to ULA for the maiden flight of the Vulcan Centaur rocket. But it's only flown once. And
and it was a partial success.
And it was a partial success. Yes, the mission was not a total success, but that wasn't really the fault of the engines, we have to say.
That was okay. They got into orbit. Now the Vulcan Centaur, like the originally the New Glenn, is totally expendable. Now this is what makes getting things into space very, very expensive, because every time you want to launch something, you have to build a brand new rocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Blue Origin, when they first designed New Glenn, it was basically to be dumped in the sea. It was not going to be reusable. It was it was expendable. But then, of course, they saw the success of Falcon 9 and realized also the price, how it really dropped. The price of actually launching things into space. It's about a third of the price that the Blue Origin could originally quote. And so, and also, I think a wake-up call was when they said they were going to launch their own satellite system into space, but they were going to use the New Glenn.
Yes.
And their shareholders said, whoa. Why are you going to use New Glenn at the astronomical cost to launch these satellites into space when you could be using SpaceX? And they actually went as far as to start proceedings in court against Blue Origin. And I think that was a wake-up call. Sorry.
Whatever happened about that court case? I never heard anything more about it.
I think it was a case that was sort of like the wake-up call, and it forced really Blue Origin to look at the making it reusable, because they're also talking about making the second stage reusable to bring that back and use it.
Yeah.
So, and again, that would make it really put it in competition with the Falcon, because they'll be building less. Because of course, originally this was going to also have a third stage, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Really powerful things, but that's been knocked on the head.
Well, there were going to be two versions. When New Glenn was announced in 2016, Jeff Bezos says there would be a two-stage configuration and a third stage configuration for different orbits with different payloads. But the three-stage version has never come about. But it's yes, I'd forgotten about that court case over Project Kuiper. Because Blue Origin had never even considered SpaceX to launch the Project Kuiper satellites. And this is, of course, due to the personal animosity between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
They were good friends once upon a time.
Yeah,
but that's been rumbling on for years. So it's no surprise that they didn't even consider the far cheaper SpaceX to launch the Project Kuiper satellites, which is an Amazon project.
Exactly. Yeah, that's their
So
constellation of satellites, isn't
absolutely. Right. Well, let's have a look at the clock just to make sure.
We're at 24:50.
24 minutes. I think we'll take a 10-minute break, and we will join you because you don't want to listen to our incessant ramblings for the next 25 minutes. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll leave you with the footage from the Cape, which is courtesy of NASA Spaceflight, who are kindly allowing us to use their footage this morning. So we will leave you with New Glenn, and we will return in about 10 minutes. So we'll see you soon. Nothing's going to happen before then.
Company itself or the range to be releasing weather balloons at set intervals during something like this, just to make sure they can get a correct read exactly of the winds aloft, because it's not just about the winds on the ground, it's also about winds in the air, whether there's shear, which means different levels, like at different altitudes, winds going dramatically different directions. So you could be flying vertically up through the atmosphere, encounter a couple 1,000-foot section of the atmosphere where wind is going, say, 100 miles to the east, 100 miles an hour to the east, and then a couple 100 feet above that layer, there's another, completely different bunch of winds going a completely different direction, which rockets don't really like. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. But Adrian, let's do a quick recap of the timeline. Where are we at? Like you said, we're getting close to the furthest we've gotten so far, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And to quickly recap, all 4 tanks of the New Glenn rocket have been already fueled. Since 4 hours and 30 minutes, the propellant loading is in process, starting with stage 2 hydrogen. After that, LOX load on both stages, and then LNG load, which is also called methane. Since then, they have wrapped up propellant loading at about T-1 hour, L-1 hour, I should say. But of course that L clock has moved since then. They will next conduct in 3 minutes from now a weather status check, which is most likely one of the final checks that they will do for the weather. And then we hopefully get to the point where they will conduct a so-called no-go poll, where all relevant stations of New Glenn will be polled and will be checked if they are go for launch. Should that no-go polling be successful, they will resume the T clock at T-4 minutes and align it with the L clock, pressurize the tanks for flight, which means they will bring the tanks to certain conditions that are used at liftoff to fuel these 7BE4 engines, transmit the vehicle to internal power, activate the deluge system, and then activate the autopilot and ignite these 7BE4 engines. And once again, after these 7 engines are ignited, and the status is go, they will release the launch clamps, and hopefully we see New Glenn rise in 22 minutes from now.
It'll be a bit awkward if they forget to turn the autopilot on and Jeff's just in mission control with his joystick, just having to fly the rocket manually.
Ryan,
that's true.
I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I think you need more sleep, my guy.
Everybody.
Yeah, right? There'll be plenty of time to sleep in like 3 days. Of course, there'll still be stuff happening. SpaceX will cryo ship 34 and we'll be like,
Don't say that.
Hey, at least they're not going to static fire it. It doesn't have engines yet.
Don't say that.
Yet.
You see, like that's the moment where you see like a convoy going down Highway 4 of engines, and you're like, huh?
Hey, I'm here for it. I can't remember the last time I got lens on a Raptor. It feels like months ago. I mean, it was months ago. Anyways.
There we go.
Hopefully tonight our Cape team can get some lenses on BE4. I'm so excited for the imagery that they're going to create, both with the tracking cameras and with the remote cameras. Fingers crossed, not only does Blue Origin get this thing off the ground, but also our team gets some amazing imagery. Because I know Max and D and everybody has put a bunch of work into this one.
We see the NASA helicopter there on here right now, which is
the range clear.
Yeah, it's a range safety asset that is helping them to keep the range clear. That helicopter has been doing some turns the last few minutes, probably checking the range ahead of flight. So seeing that in the air is always a good sign.
Oh man, we have a tweet, Adrian. We have a tweet from Blue just now.
Oh.
BE4 is chilling in and ready to fly. Weather is green. New Glenn's new T0 is 1:35 a.m. Eastern Time. Let's go. Weather is green.
Weather is green, and that's the result of that L minus 20-minute weather briefing. I'm very sure that's very, like, at the moment where that would happen, this means pending the vehicle going smoothly the next 20 minutes, we might see the maiden launch of New Glenn. The maiden launch, because it's New Glenn and maiden launch. There we go. Take over. I'm getting nervous.
I will now talk so that you no longer have to talk because you are nervous. No, this is really starting to feel real. I'm so thankful for this communication from Blue here. The BE4s are chilled in properly, which was the reason for the hold, and the weather is green, so we don't have to even speculate on the weather. The weather is green, although they didn't really say anything about recovery weather, but I'm just going to take it as a blanket green across the board. Ryan, you got a new map behind you? What's going on? Oh, there's the post, by the way. There's the X post. We could reply as Kevin Michael Reed if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But yes. Go ahead,
I've just been keeping an eye on that helicopter that we spotted from one of our Cape cams just a moment ago. It's down here at the moment, just heading down towards Patrick Space Force Base. It's over, I think it's directly overhead where Dee and Max are watching from at the moment. Perhaps, maybe they'll be able to confirm that in the back channel or not. But you can see it left the shuttle landing facility, officially called the launch and landing facility now. Let's be real, it's the shuttle landing facility, NASA. And then it flew out over towards Complex 36, did a circle, then went out to sea, and then did some zigzags, probably getting a little bit dizzy, then did some more zigzags, tight zigzags, and then is now hovering over here. So just looks like one final sweep maybe of the immediate area around the pad, which is just on the edge of the Cape here, making sure there's no wayward boats, there's nothing in the way, in the range, that will prevent a launch in, dare I say it, just under 18.5 minutes time.
Please, 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 please.
I'm getting... I still think, because last time the T0 was a bit iffy, I know we were technically lower, but I think this might have been the lowest we actually were ever. I don't think they ever got to this point the last time. So I'm getting very, very nervous.
Me too. Although I'm not really necessarily nervous. I'm getting very excited.
Yeah.
I honestly, I feel like Blue, their motto, right? It's gradatem ferociter, which means step by step ferociously. You know, if they get this thing off the ground, I'm being pretty optimistic. Maybe I'm just wildly optimistic, but either way, this is going to be an amazing launch. Hopefully here in 17 and some change minutes.
I want to get excited, but I'm just too scared to get excited unless, because we might be granted with bad news again. But maybe Blue has just changed. I don't know whether Blue has just changed their communication strategy on social media or whether things are actually better this time. I don't know, but the more tweets we're getting is making me feel more excited. But we got to like minus 8 minutes on one of the attempts on the previous stream, and I'm like, but it's only 17 minutes. Again, like, did we really? Or are they just communicating better this time? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what reality is anymore.
And I once again want to mention, what an improvement, what a turnaround on communication strategy.
Yeah, Ryan, to your point, like, I think it's both. I think they are communicating better, and I also just think it is going better tonight. I think it's a little bit of both, right? Pretty neat. Oh man, what do we even do right now? I'm just sitting here staring at the rocket. We could do questions. I could thank people for support. It's like I'm just so adrenaline racked at this moment. And once again, like, we're not we're not a like PR firm or what have you. We're not a communications we're just out here. We're fans of rocketry. We're fans of spaceflight. We want to live in a future where humans can routinely and cheaply access space. And it's not a big deal. And the whole stupid old idiom, space is hard, isn't a thing. So, if you like our coverage, maybe, I don't know, hit the like button or something. Honestly, it's a YouTube cliche, but it does really help out our channel. And we love what we do, and we'll keep doing it if you guys keep watching.
I do have to say, like there were some, I don't want to say fears, but there was a little bit of worry that maybe New Glenn won't get as much, viewership as Starship does. Maybe people won't be as excited about New Glenn. But you guys in chat right now are literally turning out full force in the middle of the night at a horrible time of day, and we are just. So I have to be honest, I have not been as excited for a launch. Maybe since Starship Flight 1, but the Starship Flight 5 and the booster catch, that's close for me. But you don't get the inaugural flight of a heavy lift rocket every day. We've had New Glenn, we've had Starship, we've had Falcon Heavy and Vulcan, and that's since 2018, right? These things don't come around every week. How can you not get excited for this?
Right, we are truly spoiled. Like it's a phrase I use a lot, but new space age. We do live in a new space age, and we are truly spoiled for variety and just amount of launches. And with this new vehicle coming online, hopefully in 14 minutes and change, it's another step towards launch becoming routine. And hopefully our streams end up being more like those streams you see of people like streaming airplanes taking off and landing at the airport. It's like, what did NSF stream today? Oh, like 5 or 6 launches. There was a couple Falcon 9s, a New Glenn, a Vulcan.
they had like 6 launches. It's like they're doing their lunch break right now, so they might miss one, whatever.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
That's what we want to get to.
Absolutely. Oh man. Under 14 minutes.
It's becoming very real here right now. This might be happening, and I'm so excited to see this beast fly.
Happening, it's.
Yep.
Approximately 5 minutes until we get to that point. The furthest we've ever gotten into this countdown, supposedly, according to the clock Blue Origin is providing us with. Depending how accurate that is, we don't know, but let's assume it's accurate tonight. Just over 13 minutes to go. Things are getting real. I'm so excited.
Adrian, timeline-wise, you want to give us a quick refresher? Vehicle's been fully fueled for a hot minute now, but where are we at? What's going on as we come up on 13 minutes to go? This is getting real.
The big thing is coming up. 3 minutes from now, they will poll all stations for a go/no-go poll of the New Glenn rocket. Should this poll be green, they will for the first time ever on a launch attempt enter terminal count on a New Glenn rocket, which basically means you're conducting a very specific set of actions. You're basically running down your final steps to condition for a certain launch time. So we are very, very close to that. And I want to set expectations. Entering terminal count and going through terminal count is a notoriously hard thing on rockets. Ask everybody who has ever covered SLS. That was always the big fear point they had in the countdown. They were always like...
Okay, so we're coming up on the terminal count then. A crucial stage of the launch operation. So, Daz, I can't believe we're getting within 12 minutes of the launch. But there we are. Okay,
they're aiming for 6:35 launch. The engines are cooked, chilled. The weather's green. So it's looking good this time, mate.
Looking good. Okay, just before we do that, just remember that if you would like to support Space Oddities, you can do so by buying us a coffee. You can scan this QR code, and a link will have appeared in the chat on YouTube. So if you would like to buy us a coffee, obviously every bit of money that you are kind enough to donate goes towards keeping our channel running. And thank you for doing that. We also have the Space Oddities merchandise. We have Space Oddities t-shirts, which are £20, including UK postage and packing. If you are outside the UK, please add £10 to the total value of your order. And we also have Space Oddities hoodies, which start at £40, including UK postage and packing. Jolly good deals. And if you'd like to browse all of our merchandise, then click this link in the chat or scan the QR code, That's the Space Oddities shop where you can have a look at all of our merchandise. And as I said, all monies received go towards keeping the channel running, because it isn't free. We have bills to pay like any other channel does. So there we are. That's the merchandise. And
Don't rush, we're on a hold.
Oh, we're on a hold again. Oh, great.
At T minus 11 minutes and 3 seconds. So they may start again. We'll see.
Yes.
But they don't push it back again like we repeated the other night. So
No,
just
no, because if you joined us on Monday, viewers, you'll know we were here for a couple of hours, and of course the launch was eventually aborted. So so there we are. So that's what's happening at the Cape. The countdown is on hold, and we don't know anything apart from that. The countdown has paused at 11 minutes, and they obviously have a problem. So we just have to wait and see. We have no idea what's happening. And this is one of the problems with launching a new rocket, that when a problem does go wrong, it has to be analyzed, and they can assess whether it can be fixed or whether they have to scrub the launch. So just a reminder, please join us again for the launch of the Starship Test Flight 7 later tonight at 2200 UK time. The launch is scheduled for. We'll be going live at 21:45 UK time this evening. Long day for us. In fact, it's been a long week with several launches going on. But the thing is that we are happy to bring you this coverage, but at the moment we don't know what's happening and how long this hold is likely to last. So we just have to wait and see.
No, Blue Origins aren't being forthcoming at the moment. Trying to listen in, but
no, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And Blue Origin, of course, are renowned for their secrecy when it comes to their activities, whereas SpaceX are open about what they're doing, and they let people film at Boca Chica, and they always let people know exactly what's happening. Blue Origin are remarkably secret. They play their cards very close to their chest. Now, while we're waiting to see what happens there, just a reminder that you can also visit the Space Oddities website, and this is what it looks like. The Space Oddities website is now live. I'll put the address up on a screen in a moment. And as you can see on the front page of the website is our schedule, what we've got coming up and when. We've also got lots of our videos on the channel. We've got some selected videos from the Space Oddities channel. We've got our Astronomy Basics series, which introduces you to various types of astronomical object. We've got our Space Bites, which is basically clips, interesting clips from our live streams. If you want to know more about Space Oddities, you can click Meet the Team here and hover your mouse over these pulsing buttons, and it will tell you about each of us, who we are and what we do. Also, viewers who submit their astronomical images to our viewers gallery on our Tuesday live streams, well, the viewers gallery is here, and you can click on any of the names of people who have submitted their images to the gallery to see their images, and you can click on any to have a better look and find out the details of the image. Space Oddities also publishes a bi-monthly magazine called Capcom, which is published by Michael Bryce. He's been doing it for over 20 years. Capcom magazine is a magazine all about rocketry and spaceflight specifically. It's a free magazine that comes as a PDF file. If you would like to be added to the mailing list for the Capcom magazine, which, as I said, comes out every 2 months, then please send us an email at Space Oddities. Send an email to capcom@spaceoddities.space with the word subscribe in the title of the email, and you will be added to the list. And I really need to say Capcom is a wonderful magazine if you're at all interested in rocketry and spaceflight. And it's jolly good. Michael does a fantastic job with that magazine. Yeah. Also, we have a look here at the year 2025 in space, where you've got a list of interesting astronomical events coming up in 2025. And of course, at the end, you've got our merchandise. So that's the Space Oddities website. We hope you'll visit it and have a look around. We will be adding more features to the website in the fullness of time. And if you'd like to contact us at any time, you can mail us at info@spaceoddities.space. And I will just put the address of the website up on the screen for you. https://spaceoddities.space. And we hope you will join and have a look around. And if you like what you see, or you have any suggestions for anything you'd like to see on the website, then please drop us an email at info@spaceoddities.space. So
sorry about that, Andy. I just popped that the thing up. What it was is a boat wandered into the no-go zone.
Oh no!
So they've had to chase it off. The clock's been set to, well, it started again. It was set to about 34 minutes. So now it's down to 32 minutes. So we've started again. So it was nothing actually with the rocket. It was a wayward boat. So so they've torpedoed that now. And
have they?
So yeah, they blew it out of the water. I hope they did. Anyway. But
so some idiot wandered into the exclusion zone. Great.
Yeah. So somebody that doesn't know anything about, doesn't look at the news, doesn't look at anything, just drifted into the no-go zone. So
right.
Yeah. So we're back on count now. So hopefully we'll count down now to what's actually hopefully will be an eventful takeoff, and it'll be a success.
Let's hope so.
So I mean, I know we do knock Blue Origin for all the for their delays and everything, and they're always messing up. But at the end of the day, we like to see rockets fly. We don't wish anyone ill, but we need these heavy launch vehicles, especially if we're going to go back to the moon and Mars and things like that. So we need these things. So yeah.
Indeed. And we were saying the other day that Blue Origin has actually been considered for the Mars sample return mission.
Yes, they have. Yeah, they have.
As you may know, viewers, the Perseverance rover on Mars has been collecting rock samples, and these need to be returned to the Earth because they are vitally important, because it has been collecting rock samples from areas where we think there may have been the possibility of life in the distant past, billions of years ago on Mars. We need to analyze those samples, and the NASA plan for doing so has been basically voted down by the Office of the Inspector General, the financial overseer of NASA, who have said, no, you don't. That's far too expensive. I think it got up to about $9 billion to return those crucial samples from Mars. So NASA have had to think again, and they've opened it up to commercial outfits to come up with a cheaper plan for returning those crucial rock samples from Mars. And so far, we don't know anything, but we do know that the only thing we do know, Blue Origin is one of the companies that's been asked to put forward a plan, which seems a bit premature, as they've never actually even got anything to orbit to think of going to Mars to collect the samples. But they have been considered. My own personal view is that NASA are absolutely dead scared of Jeff Bezos's lawyers, because as we know with Jeff Bezos, he has his lawyer on speed dial, and he does tend to be rather litigious and sue people at the drop of a hat. So I think people live in fear of him a bit. He also has Jeff Bezos has a really big army of lawyers, which he's deployed many, many times in the past. He's a bit trigger happy when it comes to suing people. But anyway, we will see. But it does seem premature to ask a company that's never even got anything into Earth orbit to launch a mission to Mars to collect those rock samples, which seems a bit crazy to me. Can you tell us anything about the engines? Well, they have been in development since 2012. They had a long and checkered history with many, many delays. I can't remember the exact number of newtons they deliver, but they are very, very powerful rockets. I think they're even more powerful than the the F1 Saturn V engines, aren't they, Daz? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, I think they're more powerful, but they're on par with the Raptor engines of the Starship, if I remember rightly. I'm just going to have a look as soon as we've been asked. Just give me a second.
I think the SpaceX Raptor, the Raptor 3 has the edge on them.
Yeah, just.
Yes.
There's virtually nothing for them, but for cost, then it for cost it was they cost a lot more than what they do the Raptors. So people were thinking, well, for power, but like I said, they had lots of problems with them, but they got themselves their act together in the end, and so because these run on basically what is natural gas and oxygen.
Yes, that's right.
It's all like a methane mix, isn't it?
Yes.
And the BE3 engines, which are the vacuum engines to run in space, they run on hydrogen. And we all know how much fun we have with hydrogen rockets.
Oh, absolutely. SLS. Look at the.
Yeah, so let me just see if I can find some information on the engines for you.
The problem with running hydrogen engines is that the hydrogen molecule is the simplest in the universe. It's right at the beginning of the periodic table, and therefore it's very, very, very small. And hydrogen atoms can escape from just about any size hole. And NASA found out this painful fact with their Space Launch System, and they've had many problems containing leaks with the SLS. So there we are. Can I just take this opportunity
sorry, mate.
I was just going to take this opportunity to say good morning to Sandra. Morning, Sandra. How are you? Hope you're well.
Sandra.
Thank you for joining us. And sorry,
BE4. Sorry. As I said, the first stage has got 7 of them, and each one produces 17,100 kilonewtons, which is 3,850,000 pound thrust.
Right.
So, and then the BE3 gives us just 1,540 kilonewtons, which is 346,000 pound thrust. So the burn time for the BE4s will be 190 seconds, and the burn time for the BE3s will be 644 seconds, because it will be is used more than one time, and it's usually the main engine to push things up into orbit. So as I said, it's the propellant for the BE4 is CH4 and oxygen, and the propellant for the BE3 is LH2 and oxygen. So
right.
Yeah. So
okay. So they're just waiting for the wayward boat that strayed into the exclusion zone, the maritime exclusion zone, to clear the area. I don't know whether they will actually bring the countdown back to the point they were before the boat strayed into the area, or whether we are indeed looking at another 25 minutes. But we will see.
I think what they do is that when they have any sort of hold or any sort of thing, they take it directly back to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because if you remember last week, at the last attempt, it was 30 minutes every time.
Sure.
So hopefully that'll be the last hold we'll have. I think they've chased the boat off. So it's back to the countdown.
And this is a problem that we've seen several times with SpaceX and Starship, haven't we? With boat owners not paying attention to what's going on and straying into the exclusion zone, which is only for their own safety, of course. And it's happened many times with SpaceX. So it makes you wonder whether some people should be allowed to.
Yeah, it's the same anytime. you have a launch. Then this is what the FAA are for, because they issue the licenses and they also issue the exclusion zones to aircraft, and then of course the maritime people then issue exclusion zones out at sea.
Yes, indeed.
Because they have to. The rocket follows a corridor. And that corridor's got to be literally empty of any sort of like ships and things like that.
Yeah.
The only thing that will be flying close by is NASA's reconnaissance plane, which will be taking photographs actually in flight. So
Yes.
I doubt if we'll see them today, but hopefully we'll see them over the next few days.
Absolutely.
Now, we don't know whether or not we're going to have any views of the landing. But there has been talk, I did hear earlier on, that possibly using the plane and the fact that it will be roundabout where the booster will be landing on the barge, we might get some infrared imaging of it coming down. So fingers crossed we'll get some imaging.
It's certainly very brave of Blue Origin to attempt to recover the first stage on the drone ship on their maiden flight. It's
exactly.
Very brave.
I think as we said, they know they're up against time. If they can do it, more power to their elbow.
Yes, indeed.
Even if it's like SpaceX. If it fails, they're still going to get data. So it will give them some idea of what they need to do. Hopefully, it won't destroy the ship, because the ship is actually named
Jacqueline,
which is named after Mr. Bezos's mother.
Yes, Jeff Bezos' mother, Jacqueline.
And because they know that this is a sort of like a hit and miss affair, they've actually nicknamed the booster itself. So you're telling me there's a chance.
Yes.
So so they've given it a little name to emphasize that. So as we said, their main goals are to get into orbit and get the what would have been the payload up into orbit, and get the second stage working, and reigniting the BE-3 engines, which it will be needed to put future satellites into orbit. And but this second stage on this one will be expendable. So
Indeed.
as we said, it has got a payload on there, but it's a test bed for it. Blue Origin's new bus system for satellites, so which will be testing communications and positioning things on there. So, but we're coming back down again. We're just coming down to 20 minutes.
Yes, indeed.
So,
and while we're waiting for that, we've got quite a few people joining us this morning. If you haven't posted in the chat, especially if you're new to Space Oddities, why don't you just say hi in the chat and tell us where you're from? We'd like to know where our viewers are. So just post in the chat, say hi, just hi. That's all you need to say. If you can say more if you want to, obviously, but just say hi and tell us where you are, because we're interested in where our viewers are. So
and if you've got any questions, if we can answer them,
yes, absolutely.
Bearing in mind we've been up for 3 or 4 nights on the trot.
Yes, it's been a pretty heavy week.
Yeah,
but I have a feeling, Daz, this is going to be 2025, to be quite honest.
Well,
There's so much going on this year.
There's so many flight launches, new stuff as well. So
yeah, and new stuff.
Do love a Falcon 9 launch. I watch as many as I can actually get to watch. I still think retrieving the boosters on the barges or even on land, it's witchery. It doesn't, it's not natural, but it's just an amazing thing. It's the sort of thing that the science fiction we grew up with back in the 60s, and things like that. And of course, then as you said, later on, we've got the Starship, which is a typical 50s sci-fi type rocket.
Yes.
So basically our childhoods are coming alive in front of us with all these machines that we thought we'd never see flying. But Thunderbirds are go.
Yes, and so much of what we're seeing these days is pure Thunderbirds. It really, really is. Especially that legendary catch of the first stage of Starship, the Super Heavy booster, when that was caught with the mechanical arms at Boca Chica, I mean, that was something straight out of a Thunderbirds episode.
That
Wasn't
was
it?
Goosebumps, wasn't it? That was Goosebumps. That
Yeah,
one.
and we hopefully see it again tonight.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, so if everything goes right.
Do join us at 21:45 UK time this evening for the 7th test flight of Starship, and we'll see whether they can pull the catch off again. In fact, I think they kind of need to pull it off again just to demonstrate that it wasn't a fluke the first time.
Exactly. I mean, they think they could have probably caught the second test,
Yes.
but somehow on launch, there was on the top there was a big aerial, which was what was used to communicate with the booster as it comes down for positioning and all that. And somehow it got bent, so they thought just play on safety. We'll just dump it in the sea. But it did a controlled landing at sea. But we never did find out why it carried on burning for about an hour.
No, we never found that out, did we?
After it to leak, because I know what they did in the end is they scrambled a fighter plane from the local Air Force base, and they actually peppered it full of holes to make it sink.
Make it sink, yes.
So they had to sink it because it was a hazard to shipping.
Perhaps a group of squatters got in a dinghy and went out there and lit their own fire to keep warm. I don't know.
Yeah, we can remember seeing it for about sort of like 3/4 of an hour to an hour. You can look at on the horizon and you can still see these flames with helicopters flying around.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we never did find out why it didn't sink.
Yeah,
it's too well made. Too well made.
Anyway, haven't seen anybody posting in the chat. Come on, guys! If you're new here or if you're regular, just say hi and tell us where you are, because we're really curious to know where people are watching from, because that helps us tailor our content accordingly.
So we know we've got Sandra, Ian's in there.
Yeah, I know Ian's in Inverness in Scotland.
Yeah,
Sandra's in Wales.
Kenneth was in earlier. I don't know if he's still there. If you're here, then give us a post. And there was David from Grand Prairie. Was it Grand Prairie? Yes. There's also ES from Arizona, USA. So
hello to our American friends.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Okay. Well, I suggest we take another short break, Daz.
Yeah, okay, then I'll leave this on. I'll put the sound on.
And put the sound on. So we've got 16 minutes. Come back in about 5 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, that'll be fine. 5-minute break. Give us a chance.
Okay, 5-minute break. See you soon, viewers. Don't go away.
How you view that trade-off?
I don't want to sit here and act like I am SpaceX and I know everything about marine recovery and I know how expensive it is and I know all the logistics, all that stuff. But nice scale there. Blue has never worked with a marine fleet before, right? This is their first time doing this, and I have a feeling, I have a vibe, as the kids say, that Blue might discover that marine assets, while they might not suck, as Sir Peter Beck says, they might be very expensive to operate, and if you can save some dollars on just coming back to a concrete pad next to your launch site, rather than having to send out Jacqueline and their support ship Harvey Stone and a whole support crew for both ships and all of that stuff, and then have to tow it out there and tow it back and spend all that money on the crew, on food, on fuel, on the tire, all of that stuff. Just bring it back to a concrete pad that doesn't, you don't need anyone to staff the concrete pad. You just need a big slab of concrete, essentially. Surely that would be more cost effective if you do not need the performance of that launch for a heavy payload.
Right.
But again, I am not a CEO of a company. I'm a nerd who is just commenting on stuff which may or may not be true and is just speculation in my brain.
Whoa. Hold up. You are a nerd?
Who'd have guessed?
I would have never guessed. Never. Jesse Moore, thank you for the super chat. They say saying hi to Courtney, Parker, Poppy, Sasha, and Rover, watching from Satellite Beach, Florida. Go New Glenn, go Starship. That's neat. Hi, everybody. Oh, goodness. Julia, we're getting close again. Do you believe it this time? Do you feel it in your bones?
I feel it in my bones. I just want that boat to go away.
Yeah, please get that boat out of here. Get that boat out of here. You're the port person, Julia. What do we do? How do we fix it?
I'm on the wrong side of port to fix this problem. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We forgive you.
I do have to say, if the helicopter I was talking about earlier is actually following that boat, which I can't confirm at the moment, it's still doing racetrack patterns in a very similar location. Like, that helicopter hasn't really moved. So I don't know what to say. Potentially the boat is still there, but I can't confirm that at this time.
All right. Well, hopefully the boat is getting the message from the helicopter and rapidly exiting the hazard area as we get under 13 minutes once again. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
So this is a pro tip for everybody who's ever steering a marine asset. If there's a helicopter constantly circling above you, you should be concerned that you're doing something wrong right now, especially if it's a range asset.
Yeah, generally a NASA helicopter will not sit directly above your boat and or do racetracks around you, unless you should probably pay attention to what they're doing and why and what they want you to do.
Usually NASA is not cycling your boat for just giggles.
Like funsies, yeah, that's generally not a thing. Well, at least we can't complain about these epic views of the rocket venting at the pad. You can see the Comet heat protection material on the forward module there, the top of GS1, the first stage of New Glenn. You can see the strakes. You can see the Comet on the aft module as well, where the vehicle widens out to like almost the same diameter as Starship, right, Adrian?
Yeah, it's 8 meters. It's just a meter short of Starship. So there's plenty. This rocket is quite wide. The overall main body is 7 meters.
Wow, that is a big rocket. And Harry in our back channel is saying 8.5 meters is what it actually tapers out to. So
I'm sorry.
How dare you round? We only squared here.
No, Harry's absolutely right. And I should be ashamed of myself.
All right, 11 minutes. Still hoping that boat is in the right trajectory to be out of the way. No additional updates on that as of yet. Ryan?
Quickly chiming in here, we are 1 minute away from that no-go again. So let's hope they proceed with it.
Yeah, let's hope we can hear it. Again, we did not get to hear it on the first attempt a couple days ago. But it seems like Blue's been doing things a little bit differently this time around. So fingers crossed that we can get our ears on that no-go. If we do end up hearing it, we will shut up so we can listen into it. But who knows if Blue will actually make it audible or not.
We'll see. And hear, actually.
Just like
Mostly
we can
here.
see and hear New Glenn right now. I love the sounds of a rocket venting. The other day, EJ and everyone, we were all out at the pad, and Starship started venting, and EJ was like, I was like, no, it's fine. It does that. All right, here we go. Momentarily. Bingo, we are under 10 minutes on the L- clock.
Okay, so 10 minutes to go. The countdown proceeding. Everything looks fine.
Yeah, getting to the serious end.
Mind you, I mean, we need to get down to 9 minutes because on Monday they got down to 9 minutes before putting the clock back again. So a crucial time here. Beautiful images from the launch pad there of that liquefied natural gas burning away from the flare stack, and all systems looking fine. So thank you for joining us this morning, viewers. We are Space Oddities. We are live here bringing you the maiden launch of New Glenn. And I can't believe we're finally down now to just nearly within 9 minutes of the count. So
Well, don't start messing about. You don't need this.
So this is the final count. We've got a bit of lag there. Okay. Do you want to just refresh the screen, Daz? Oh, hang on. I think we can. Can you just reload the stream?
Let's just refresh.
Okay.
Can you see that full screen now, Andy?
That's fine.
Thank you.
So 7 minutes to go. All looking good.
Nice, pretty control center, isn't it?
Yeah. Hello, Kenneth from Norway. Nice to have you with us again.
Yeah.
Watching on your office PC. So I don't know what time of the morning it is, Kenneth, where you are, but obviously an early start.
In Bergen in Norway.
Yeah.
And yes, Greg, we hope we're not wasting your time. Fingers crossed that it goes this time, Greg. It's still counting down.
Yeah, indeed.
Give me a shout when you want to go back to audio, Andy.
Yeah, we'll pick up the audio again, I think, at about the 5 minute mark.
Okay, then. Because I want to hear what this sounds like, because we know what a Falcon 9 listen sounds like. So
yeah. Okay, put the
this
audio
is something we've never seen before.
That's it. That's right. Never seen this before. Yes, you can put the audio back on if you like.
Right. Okay then.
Just 2 minutes from now, if our timeline is correct, they will resume and start terminal count in 2 minutes from now.
That's
Deep breaths.
I mean, this is like, I'm at a loss for words.
Woo!
Here we go.
I'm starting to talk gibberish.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard to maintain some semblance of being able to talk, but this is something special happening here before our eyes. And forgive me if the eloquence of our discussion drops rapidly as the time on the clock does as well.
Yes.
Adrian, can we talk timeline a little bit? You said in a minute or so they're going to enter terminal count.
Yes. They will enter terminal count at T-4 minutes. At T-2 minutes and 30 seconds, they will start the tank pressurization of all 4 tanks of the New Glenn rocket. This is where they will bring it up all the way to flight pressure. 60 seconds later, at T-1 minute and 30 seconds, they will transfer the vehicle on internal power, meaning the vehicle is for itself, kinda. At T-20 seconds, the water deluge system at the mighty pad LC-36 will start. At the same time, they will also engage the autopilot, which is the auto steering system for the New Glenn rocket. And at T-5.6 seconds, is the engine ignition of the 7 BE4 engines. They will perform most likely a quick health check, and then at T-0, they will retract the launch clamps, and New Glenn will hopefully lift off from LC-36.
20 seconds until terminal count. 20 seconds until terminal count.
This is the furthest we've gotten so far in any of the attempts. This is truly a milestone in the commercialization of spaceflight and in making humanity a spacefaring society. Here we go. L-4 minutes. The vehicle will now be in the terminal count. And it bears repeating, we're going to have to say it again, if things do not progress through to a launch in this portion, there's still plenty of window left.
They have transitioned into terminal count and are below T-4 minutes.
You're going to have to go a minute until the vehicle starts to press for flight. That's where the tanks
You can see it!
to their flight pressures. Think of an empty soda can versus a full unopened soda can. The full pressurized one has way more strength.
You can see it, they have opened the valves again so they can let out the gaseous boil off now to press up and fill it up with liquid with liquid propellant again.
Hang on, I think we're getting some chatter on the loop. Let's listen in.
Our team is now securing all the commodities.
Oh, it sounds like they are getting everything in order. 3 minutes. Ryan.
Wow.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I finally feel confident that if I can talk about the time, I will not be responsible if anything happens. And I will leave it at that.
Yeah, good call.
The flight termination system for New Glenn is now armed.
Amazing. Really quickly, 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Hopefully this thing gets off the ground. Once again, we probably have a lot of new viewers here with us. We are NSF. We're a group of dedicated spaceflight reporters, and we do our best to bring you
T-minus 230.
coverage of rocket launches.
GS1 pre-press
So thanks
start.
for joining us.
Booster vent has stopped and the second stage vent has stopped, which means they are now topping off the rocket for flight pressure.
Excellent. 2 minutes.
Here we go.
We are now pressurizing the tanks to their flight pressures. Of course, this is crucial
GS2
for the
chilled
performance
pre-press
of our engines. Getting ready for launch.
Oh boy.
T-minus
This
2.
is incredibly close. We are incredibly close to the maiden launch of this behemoth of a rocket.
We're now going to be switching off the ground
98
power supply
meters.
and transitioning New Glenn to its internal vehicle batteries. When this happens,
Oh my
the
goodness.
vehicle is now powering itself. Let's do this, New Glenn.
Transition to internal power.
Let's go.
My heart goes out to every single person that has worked and put blood, sweat, and tears, taken time away from their family,
T-minus 130.
and absolutely made the future happen before our eyes.
Power internal.
Power internal. The rocket is on internal power for the first time.
There it is. New Glenn is alive.
Let's go.
The countdown is still progressing.
Minute to go. Let's do this. I can't even.
At T-minus 20 seconds, watch for the bottom of the rocket. You will see the mighty deluge
60
system of
seconds.
LC-36 pull up.
Range green.
45.
AFSS flight enabled.
Flight
about to
enabled
witness-
from the autopilot.
We're about to witness a moment in spaceflight history here, everybody.
Wow.
Look at the bottom.
30 seconds.
I'm looking, Adrian.
Here we go.
There will
We
be
can hear the
deluge.
alarms.
This could really be it.
20 seconds. Should be
There it
60
is.
soon.
This could really be it.
There's that mighty rocket. Everything going good. They're progressing.
There's
There's the
deluge.
deluge.
There's the deluge system.
Oh my god. 5, 4,
Ignite
three.
these.
Ignition. Oh my god. And liftoff. Baby.
Yes.
There it goes.
Doing.
There it goes!
Liftoff
Look at that.
of
Wow.
New Glenn 1. Congratulations to Blue Origin. Look at it go.
Look at that blue.
That thrust to weight ratio is so low. It's crawling off the pad.
Pitching downrange.
Let's listen in as the sound hits our cameras.
Wow. Panic has.
Your pressures continue to look nominal. 1 minute into flight. All 7 engines continue to look good on the first stage. Data quality is good.
Absolutely
Down to the
insane.
battery response to nominal.
Everything progressing
1 minute,
nominal.
15 seconds into flight.
As we build a road
Blue,
to
it's
space
so
for the
blue.
benefit of Earth.
7 healthy BE4s.
All at full thrust.
Look at that blue.
I cannot get over how slow that liftoff was off the pad. That was so slow. Vehicle supersonic.
Vehicles now passing through max Q.
Now passing through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
Look at that. Is that the WB-57?
I think it is.
That might be a ground-based tracking can. I'm not sure.
But it's cool.
It's cool either way. Well, it's hot, but it's cool.
Maximum dynamic pressure.
Everything nominal.
The toughest
Look
part
at the blue in the
of flight on that
clouds.
vehicle, we
Now
have
passing 2
punched
minutes into
through
flight.
it,
And that
you
booster
are
burn
in
is almost complete.
1 minute until stage separation. 1 minute.
Truly impressive.
These BE4s doing work.
Everyone asking Jeff where the engines are. I'll tell you where they are.
Right there.
Launching into space.
D3U, LH2 chill and started.
Wow. Our camera's still tracking it.
30 seconds to Miko.
Now passing 2 minutes, 30 seconds into flight.
That might be WB-57.
Look at that streak.
So blue.
Wow.
Blue, isn't it?
That is
What a
spectacular.
What a
20
magnificent
seconds to
rocket.
stage set.
And here we
Watch
are,
for that
coming up
shutdown
on
sequence, and
Miko.
there is a long period between Miko and stage sep. Don't get nervous about that.
Thank you. I would have gotten nervous about that.
Ah,
Looks like we
Look at-
have.
full camera.
It looked like Miko for a second. This camera might have a little bit of a delay. New Glenn at 200,000 feet and rapidly climbing.
And
Coming up
we
on 5,000 miles an hour.
should get any separation anytime soon. There's the BE4 shutdown, I think.
We have stage step.
There it is.
Good stage step. Good stage step. I hear the crowd going wild. I think I hear Max losing his mind.
We want to have a confirmation of the
And we have
BE3Us
ignition
being
on
ignited.
Both BE3Us, chamber
it is.
pressure's good.
Chamber pressure good.
Yes!
Here we go.
Go, baby, go!
Look at
Truly
these.
Here we come.
Passing 3 minutes, 40 seconds into flight. Body rates look good.
Is that the engine's gimbling?
Data quality coming down
Wow.
from both
I
Yep.
think so.
looks good.
Looks like some
And
covers coming off there. Probably completely nominal.
GS2 performance
Don't be
picks up
irritated by the
body
fact
rate
it's
response
hydrogen. The
phenomenal.
plume is hardly visible, but look at the stage 2 velocity at the bottom.
We have
Oh
good
my
payload train
goodness,
data.
y'all. They're doing it. They are doing it.
It's amazing. And this means stage
4
1.
minutes into flight.
Of the
Well,
Stage 1, so you're telling me there's a chance we'll now attempt a re-entry burn.
Oh my goodness.
That
How long
burn should
until we
start
come up
at
on
T
that?
plus 7 minutes and 17 seconds. So we are just under 3 minutes from that re-entry burn. That will last until T plus 7 minutes and 45 seconds. The landing burn should then come at T plus 8 minutes and 52 seconds. So we are
Okay. Daz, can you refresh the...
the inaugural stage 1.
Absolutely
Oh, there it is.
spectacular launch. The blues from those 7 BE4s was every bit as beautiful as I was hoping it would be. I cannot wait to see what the Cape team has captured.
Look at
It's
that.
going to be phenomenal. I already know.
There's the difference now between first and second stage.
Yeah, look at that.
All right.
Yeah.
And you see the booster re-entry burn now on the timeline.
It looks like the booster might be about to hit apogee based on its speed coming up and sort of it'll peak if it's anything like Falcon 9. The velocity will peak and then start to drop and then actually no, maybe it's coming back down. I don't even know what's going on
It's
anymore.
starting to come down again.
Yeah.
Second
Yes,
stage continuing to
come down.
pile on
Come down.
velocity. 5 minutes and 40 seconds into flight. Ryan, when did you say that the re-entry burn was?
So re-entry burn starts at T plus 7 minutes 17
stage
seconds.
two.
That should complete at 7 minutes 45 seconds. The landing burn should then start at 8 minutes 52 seconds with touchdown approximately half a minute later. Unlike Falcon 9, we are not expecting anyways a hover slam. We're expecting similar to what they do with New Shepard. They'll ignite those BE4 engines, they'll slow down to a hover with this huge booster, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, slowly touch down on the deck of Jackpit.
Active.
1 minute to boost the re-entry burn.
Yeah, just
Everyone is stood up in
hovering.
mission control.
Yeah, look
now
at that.
remaining
That's
to
you can see
exo
Jeff Bezos
atmosphere
there, and also
ignition.
CEO of Blue Origin, Dave Limp.
6 minutes 30 seconds into
I
flight.
mean, this is a big moment,
So
right?
coming up here,
Not
we're gonna
only
see
just
the
launch, but
middle of-
landing as well.
Engine chill has started for the booster re-entry burn.
Whatever happens with this landing, already a wild success on this launch. Looked like a fabulous ascent, a good stage set. Second stage is on its way under power of BE3U engines. Now, we're just looking for the icing on the cake. Of course,
I think that's
assuming
Dean,
that-
who might still have a track of the second stage as it
Really?
goes into the distance, getting very dim. Those thin clouds I was talking about getting in the way a little bit, but it's so blue, really living up to the Blue Origin name, if I dare sneak a pun in.
Booster re-entry burn will be 1-3-1. We will see one engine, 3 engines, and then at the end 1 engine. Very similar to the Falcon burn. So let's wait for that. I think I see deceleration.
Looks.
That looks like deceleration. I think we have an entry burn.
All 3 engines relight confirmed.
Fantastic.
There we go.
Excellent. No onboard views, looks like, but that's
Body rate's
okay.
good on
The engines
GS2.
are burning. Oh, there we go.
Continuing through its planned burn. Now 7 minutes 45 seconds in.
Let's go. Let's go. Stick the landing, folks.
If they do this.
Come on.
I'd be more focused on the callouts from mission control here. Live video is hard, let alone from a booster plummeting from space. So don't be surprised if these videos cut out. This is the first time Blue is doing this. They're going to be learning a lot.
Engines, seeing
Yeah,
good
no
throttle
kidding,
profile.
Ryan. Thank you.
Chamber pressures continue to look good throughout the burn.
This is the hard
8
part.
minutes 20 seconds. in
Chamber
flight.
pressure is good on the upper stage. Looking good across the board so far. Weird that the timeline is sort of frozen.
Two tank pressures staying within their acceptable limits. Body rate responses look good.
Yeah, it seems there
Chamber
might be
pressures look good throughout the burn.
some issues with timeline.
8 minutes 40 seconds in.
Yeah. Again,
All right.
focus on what mission control is saying. That is the most reliable source.
When do we expect landing burn to start? At T plus what?
Landing burn should begin at T plus 8 minutes and 52 seconds with touchdown approximately 30 seconds later.
All right.
Now
We're into
passing
the
9
landing
minutes
burn.
in flight.
Yeah.
So we should have seen landing burn by now.
Continue to see data from both stages.
Continue to see beta from both stages.
That's good. Second stage, that's the main deal here. Continuing on into orbit, piling on velocity for several more minutes yet. Let's see if they tell us what's going on with the first stage. Based on the lack of information and cheering, I am not optimistic. But
Yeah,
we'll
we
see.
should see
Data
touchdown by
might-
continues
now.
to look good throughout the burn. Chamber pressures, both engines staying very close to each other.
All right.
GS2 trajectory is nominal.
Some cheering there.
That's good.
A lot of talk about the second stage, not a lot of talk about the first stage. We should have
Less
seen
than 3
touchdown
minutes
by
now
now.
remaining in the GS2 burn.
I think
Yeah, I would be hesitant to
Thank
say
you again,
that it
everybody,
landed at
for
this
joining
point.
us.
We'll obviously wait for official word from Blue, but if it had landed, I feel like we would know about it. But we'll see what they say. My gut is that they are going to, from a PR perspective, focus on the main part of the mission here, which is getting Blue Ring into orbit with the second stage, which is continuing on nominally. Obviously, we all want to know what's going on with the booster. But around the time that we were expecting to have landing burn, didn't they say they were still getting good data from both stages? Did I hear that call out right, Ryan?
That's what I heard as well. So I don't trust the graphics as your number one source, right? Listen to what Mission Control is saying, and they were saying they were seeing good telemetry from both stages. But So if you're seeing
Tank pressure
telemetry, it
staying
doesn't
within
necessarily
acceptable
mean
limits. Bottle
that
pressure
your
look
engine's
good.
reignited.
Data quality
So we'll
continues
just wait
look
to
good
see
throughout
what
the
they
GS2
say.
burn.
Everything I could just hear Mission Control say is that everything's looking good.
Yeah, but they said on
man.
GS2, which is Glenn Stage 2, that's the upper stage. I don't think we've heard anything about the first stage for a good couple minutes now.
11 minutes,
Touchdown
10
should have
seconds into
been
flight.
80 seconds ago.
I suspect when the second stage is done doing its thing, they
GS2
will.
is now 1,700 kilometers downrange, traveling at 6.7 kilometers per second.
Yeah, I suspect when the second
Okay.
stage is done doing it, a tweet and say, you know, we did it, got to orbit. Here's what happened with the first stage. Something like that. We'll see.
Data looks good coming down from Tidris.
I mean, I can't imagine that they would have actually stuck the landing and not said so yet. Can't imagine that.
Yeah. Unless they lost like complete telemetry and everything from the...
Yeah, and it's just sitting there, but they don't have confirmation yet.
Both BE3Us continue to look good, tracking nicely in chamber pressure. Body rate responses are stable. 12 minutes, 10 seconds into flight.
Fantastic. Really, just everything looking great with that ascent. Second stage doing its thing. All the rates are in acceptable limits. All the temperatures and pressures are in acceptable limits.
Okay, Daz, can you
Fantastic
turn the audio
stuff.
on that for a minute?
Yeah.
Really would
We
love
have
to know what's
IAP
going on with that
vanish.
first stage.
GS2 is now orbital.
I mean,
Okay. We appear to have lost the studio cameras, Daz.
The studio cameras?
Yeah.
Right, anyway.
So basically, viewers, what's happening is we don't know whether the first stage successfully landed on the drone ship, but either way, it doesn't matter really because this is the first mission. SpaceX took many launches to get the first stage landing right, but the second stage, which is the important thing, continues on its way into orbit. And there we are. And we're not quite sure when the payload is going to be released, but that's just a minor thing. Thanks. So what do you think, Daz? What's your reaction to that?
Well, that was a stunning takeoff. Again, it reminded me of the Starship, the very first Starship launch.
Yes.
How slowly it crept off of the actual pad. It was really, really slow. But as soon as it cleared the plume and the dust and the steam, you could see that lovely blue jet from underneath. And of course, every time it went through the clouds, it just lit them up really blue. It was an absolutely fantastic launch. Well done.
Indeed. Congratulations to Blue Origin for a picture-perfect launch. I'm sure there's no truth in the rumor that they chose the liquefied natural gas as the fuel because it glows with a blue flame. So there we are. So I think
we'll have to wait. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think we'll start wrapping things up for today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us at this ungodly hour this morning, viewers. We hope you've enjoyed our live coverage. We are returning at 2200 UK, well, 2145 UK time tonight for the launch of the Starship again, the 7th test flight, which is going to attempt many new things, onwards and upwards, literally, as it were. So we hope you'll join us for our live coverage of the 7th test flight of Starship tonight here on Space Oddities at 2145. We'd like to thank all our viewers for being with us today. And what an historic morning. Blue Origin have proved that they can launch a New Glenn. They have got a rocket that works. And even if they, by the look of it, even if they didn't manage to stick the first stage landing on the first attempt, which was always going to be a bit questionable, they've got a rocket on its way into orbit for the very first time. And this could mark the era, a new era of an entry into the space launch market by Blue Origin, and a pretty significant one at that. So many congratulations to Blue Origin. After 25 years, It's not quite in orbit yet, but it looks like they've got something in orbit at last. So I'm sure Jeff Bezos and Dave Limp, the CEO of Blue Origin, I'm sure they're very happy. And we could see all the Blue Origin workers were ecstatic this morning at the successful
GS1 was lost.
Well,
so they lost it. It did seem strange that they were doing the re-entry burn, and then I mean sometimes we get it with SpaceX that sometimes the cameras freeze because the telemetry is lost, but it seemed to be a long time, and everything froze. So yeah, they've just put up that Blue Origin has launched New Glen's maiden flight with Blue Ring Pathfinder payload. GS2 has gone orbital. GS1 was lost.
So there's the confirmation that the second stage is in orbit. So after, as I said, after 25 years, Blue Origin has managed to get something into orbit. So many congratulations.
Congratulations on that.
And we will wrap things up for today. We hope to see you this evening for the launch of Starship, which will be the last launch this week. We've had a week of very early mornings, but we've enjoyed being with you, and we hope you've enjoyed being here too. So we hope to see you later tonight. If not, we'll be back on Tuesday for our normal Tuesday live stream at 8 p.m. British time. Until then, take care of yourselves.